We wish you a merry madness. We wish you a merry madness. We wish you a merry madness and a perfect bracket.
You are Locked On College Basketball, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hey there, Merry Christmas. What's up? It's the opening day of March Madness. I'm bumping my microphone with my elbow. I'm so excited. Welcome into the Locked On College Basketball Podcast, the only daily national college hoop show out there. We're your hosts, and we're so happy to be here. This is Andy Patton. I'm Isaac Schade. What a glorious day it is. The field is now no longer that weird round number of 68. It is the perfect chef's kiss, beautiful 64. Finally. Thanks for making us your first listener watch of the day. To get all of your college basketball news, you can listen to every episode ad-free on Amazon Music. Boy, we love Amazon, Andy. Special shout out to all you everydayers and all the great members of the Locked On College Basketball Discord, which, by the way, if you're listening to this before things tip off, the Locked On College Basketball Bracket Challenge is still open. Get your bracket in now. This episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code Locked On College for $20 off your first purchase. Andy, coming up on the show today, we're going to unveil. We already know the games, but we're going to unpack these 16 games that will take place today. The Rodney Terry era is likely over in Austin, Texas after, oh boy, a collapse in Dayton, Ohio last night against Xavier. And Andy, we will give our Final Four predictions and our championship picks as well. Let me very quickly lay out how the games, like how you can kind of process the way things are laid out. There are 16 games today and tomorrow, divided into 4 windows of time and at 4 different locations and on 4 different TV channels. Each game, 1 channel per window, right? That's how it goes. So the 4 locations today are Lexington, Providence, Denver, and Wichita. 4 games in each. Andy, that's where we're headed. Let's start with the first window of the day. This window's fine, Andy. It's the second window that I can't wait to sink my teeth into. But thankfully, the best game of this window, at least on paper, is the one that starts it all, baby. Number 9 seed Creighton against number 8 seed Louisville. 12:15 CBS in the South region. This is in Rupp Arena in Lexington, Kentucky. FanDuel has it cards -2.5. Andy, quickly there on this game, and then we'll just keep on going right on through them.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit already, but for me, Louisville was underseeded, but this is not a good matchup for Louisville either. And it's like the worst possible combination of things. Like there's some other teams that got underseeded at least in my opinion, that I thought, okay, well, they at least have a draw where they can, win a couple more games or maybe even upset somebody. But for Louisville, they should have been probably a 6, maybe 7, but 6, maybe even 5. Instead, they get an 8 seed. They draw Creighton and Ryan Kalkbrenner. And I have a hard time seeing how Louisville is going to be able to handle that. And ultimately, I think this is a game that Creighton wins. And Louisville's 2.5-point favorite. So for me, I'm taking Creighton. I'm taking them to cover, but it's not an indictment on Louisville at all. What a tremendous season from Pat Kelsey. I think in a different situation against a different team, I think they could have maybe had a better chance to make a run at the Sweet 16, but this was a brutal draw for the Cards.
Andy, I do think something that is in Louisville's favor is that this game is just at Rupp Arena, just an hour drive east down I-64, a road I've driven many times in my life. And so that side of it won't be too bad. But yeah, I think it is a bad matchup for Creighton. I did see Oglesby from Field of 68 breaking down why he thought Louisville could find some cracks in the Creighton defense. And so, folks, that would be worth taking a listen to as well. Andy, second tip of the day. Oh, wait, I didn't make my pick in this game. I'm going to go with the Cards. Win by 3 and barely cover this thing. High Point, 13 seed against number 4 Purdue, 12:40 tip on True TV. If you found it for the play-in games, you'll already know where it is. This is in the Midwest bracket and in Providence, Rhode Island, the smallest state in America. Purdue -7.5 at FanDuel. Andy, what you got?
Yeah, I think Purdue wins. I think Purdue covers. Too experienced. for they struggled in the regular season more than I think a lot of folks thought they would, and there's definitely some areas of concern for Purdue in terms of depth outside of their big three. But I think they take this game. I think there's only one 13-4 that I really like, the 13 seed. We're going to get to that game a little bit later. Spoiler alert. But I don't think High Point's got it in this one. I think Purdue wins. And I think the 7.5 spread is a little low. I think Purdue wins by double digits.
Yeah, they're folks, by the way, in case you haven't already figured this out, today there were literally, at least by FanDuel's lines, there were literally no worse seed teams that are favorited. We will see that, I believe, on Friday, at least one, maybe two I'm thinking of, but none of those here. I'm with you, Andy. I think this line is too small. Purdue wins by double digits. Next, Montana, the 14 seed against number 3, Wisconsin. This is a 140 tip on TNT in the East region. It's up in Denver, Mile High Stadium. Not really at the Mile High Stadium, but I think of that every time I think Denver. FanDuel has it Badgers minus 17.5. That's a much bigger line right there, Mr. Patton.
Yeah, too big of a line for Wisconsin, I think. You mentioned the elevation. Montana's about 3,000 feet. For Missoula, Wisconsin, where Madison's about 1,000. I think they're going to be more comfortable at elevation. I think that's going to play a factor. Again, I don't think Montana wins this game. I think Wisconsin's too good. John Tonji's been one of the best transfers in the country. They're an elite free throw shooting team, which helps in close games. I don't even think this game's going to necessarily be that close, but 17.5 is a big line. And ultimately, I think it's probably going to be more like a 12 to 15-ish point win, which I know is close to the line, but I wouldn't pick Wisconsin to cover, but I do certainly expect them to win.
Right with you on that. No argument from me. And then the final tip of the opening window. So we've already had a Lexington, a Providence, and a Denver, and this means we're going to the Sunflower State. Remember we were talking about that earlier this season, Andy? And Wichita, the Shockers. I'm assuming this is being my Alexa is talking to me. We just said we love Amazon, and apparently Alexa's part of that. Andy, I'm going to set up this game and go unplug it. Number 16 seed SIUE against number 1 seed Houston. This game tips at 2 p.m. Eastern on TBS. This is in the Midwest region. Again, it's in Wichita. FanDuel has it Houston minus 28.5. You talk about it. I'm going to go unplug Alexa.
We still love Amazon, but yes, we got to go take care of that. This is a huge line, but it's a 1 versus 16. Houston, when they play bad teams or when they play teams that they are ahead of, I don't want to call SIUE bad. They made the NCAA tournament, but I expect Houston to win this game, and I would not be surprised if they absolutely dominate this game. 28.5 is a huge spread, though. It's hard to confidently bet that any team in college basketball, especially when you're in the NCAA tournament, is going to win by 30-plus points. No. If you are confident about it, Houston's probably the team that's going to do it. So I wouldn't be surprised to see the Cougs cover this one. I think that's a really close line. Probably not one that I would touch if I'm being honest, but if I had to pick a line, I'd probably say under, but it's going to be between 25 and 30 points, which is why that line is a tough one to pick.
Yeah, I just looked at KenPom while you were talking, and his algorithm has it by 24. So a little bit smaller there. And probably I don't think I would touch that at 24. These games always just make me feel weird.
Worth pointing out that for Houston, they've played a few teams outside the top 200 at KenPom, and they beat the absolute tar out of every single one of them. They beat Louisiana 91-45, Hofstra 80-44. They beat Jackson State 97-40. Like when they play those kind of teams, that's the kind of score you end up seeing. So worth acknowledging when looking at this game.
And as part of this conversation, we got to talk about Juwan Roberts, and all the reporting on Wednesday suggested from the horse's mouth himself. Juwan said he is 100% playing in this game. So we expect to see him. Andy, let's move to window number 2. And this to me is by far the most intriguing window of Thursday's slate, aside from the first game, which I believe is the biggest line of the day at KenPom. Let me scroll down to the 3rd and 4th windows just to make sure I'm not lying to you. Yeah. By far, this is the only game in the 30s, Andy. Good grief. Number 16, Alabama State, who won with that walk-off, not really a buzzer beater, but essentially a buzzer beater on Tuesday night to open the play-in action against number 1 overall seed Auburn, 2:50 Eastern on CBS. In the South region, again, this winner will play the Creighton-Louisville winner on Saturday. This also is in Lexington. FanDuel has it Auburn minus 31.5 points, Andy Patton.
Yeah, I got Auburn winning, and I think they might honestly cover this thing. Alabama State's coming off short rest, an emotional win. They're very, very happy to be here. Obviously, they're going to give Auburn everything that they got, but I think Auburn's going to win this one handily in Lexington. And I think there's a very, very good chance that they do win this thing and cover that spread.
especially it's funny after the conversation we just had about Houston, but there's just this, I feel like Auburn is itching to just remind everyone who they are, right?
Yeah.
Let's keep going. Number 12, McNeese against number 5, Clemson, 3:15 p.m. True TV, Midwest region. This will be in Providence. FanDuel has it Clemson -7.5. But Andy, all of a sudden, the biggest story in this game isn't the game. It's the fact that Will Wade has already, like literally, they're talking about it on Sports Center behind me here during halftime of the San Francisco NIT game. Will Wade has been announced that as soon as McNeese is out of this tournament, he will be taking the head coaching job in Raleigh at NC State. How weird, like game aside, how weird is this to you?
Well, I feel like Brad Brownell could play a little bit of 4D chess here and be like, well, if we lose, then McNeese keeps Will Wade, which hurts NC State long term in the sense that they don't get their coaching before, earlier than the transfer portal opens. So I don't think Brad Brownell is going to sacrifice a win here, but it's just a weird situation. Like it's a weird dynamic that like Brad Brownell is going to coach against a coach that he knows about to be in his conference. Like it's just all around bizarre. We're seeing this more and more in college basketball. I know we're not going to get all the way into it, but with the Jai Lucas situation in Miami, where he gets like poached before the season ends for Duke, like these programs desperately want to have their coaches in before the transfer portal opens, totally understandably, but because of the timing of the transfer portal, it makes situations like this happen. Great hire for NC State. Again, Will Wade's great. He's a great coach, but I feel for the players at McNeese. It's just a bizarre situation all around, and one we're going to see more of until or unless college basketball makes some changes to the transfer portal window.
Number 11, VCU against number 6.
We didn't give a pick. Clemson's going to win. They're going to cover.
You're right. I apologize. Thank you.
No, you're good. I don't think McNeese. I'd like to say that they circle the wagons, but I think ultimately Clemson still wins. They're just too good. I think they win by double digits and cover that spread.
I got nothing different. Number 11, VCU against number 6, BYU, 4:05 Eastern on TNT in the East region. This one's also in Denver, BYU -2.5 in a location where they're used to some elevation, while I don't think Virginia Commonwealth quite has that same experience.
Yeah, no, they don't. And to me, this is I get why this spread is low, and I have a ton of respect for VCU. I think they can absolutely make this a game, but this is probably one of the easier picks for me. I think BYU covers this spread. I think they're it's a new coach in the NCAA tournament for the first time, but it's not a super new roster. They have a lot of really experienced players like Richie Saunders and Dallin Hall and Keba Kaita and others, and they're just too talented. I think BYU wins. I think they win by significantly more than 3 points. And I think that it's potentially spearheads a pretty deep run for the Cougars. I'm all in on them right now. And this is a pretty easy one for me.
And what a great thing that would be for Cougs, who I'm sure were concerned after losing Mark Pope to Kentucky. Yeah. Reminder, Mark Pope never had an NCAA tournament win. He might get one this weekend, but would be really neat to lose Mark Pope and then get your first tournament win in a while. Yeah. Andy, wrapping up the second window here is the Bulldog. I guarantee you the Bulldogs are going to win this basketball game. Number 9, UGA against 8 seed Gonzaga, 4:35 p.m. TBS Midwest region. The winner of this one will play the Houston. I almost said the winner of, but they'll play Houston in Wichita. Andy, FanDuel has it Gonzaga. I should say Gonzaga just to upset you and listeners here as this is happening. The Fighting Zags -6.
We want people to make it to the end of the show, Isaac. I think you got to get
it. 6.5 for the Bulldogs.
Yeah,
the Gonzaga variety. I should
for
say.
The Bulldogs. Yeah, I think Gonzaga is going to cover here. I think it's going to be close though. I think there's going to be like a 8-10 point game, and at that point, like a last second shot could mess up the spread. But Gonzaga's been playing really good as of late. They've looked a lot better towards the end of the season. This is exactly what they did last year. Closed out the season strong, came into the tournament, and then won 2 games, made it back to the Sweet 16. I'm not necessarily confident that this team's going to the Sweet 16 because they'd have to beat Houston in the second round, but I do believe that they are going to win this basketball game, even though there's a ton of size for Georgia. Asa Newell, very, very good. This is an intriguing matchup for both sides, but I think Gonzaga squeaks this one out and barely covers that spread.
Yeah. Andy, we have been in complete agreement thus far. Here's my first slight disagreement from each other. Gonzaga wins, but I don't think they cover. I'm going to go Zags by 4 in this game.
This is outrageous that we're so much in disagreement. Well, we'll see if things change in the third window, because I'm going to tell you right now, in this third window that we got on Thursday, I have 3 double-digit seeds all pulling off upsets on my bracket. We'll see if Isaac agrees with me. We're going to get to that in just a second. But first, folks, have you ever checked your bank account and wondered, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. And that's where Monarch Money comes in. Your personal CFO giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so you can just stop managing your money and start building wealth. And instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track spending, and even plan long-term goals. For me, my family, my wife and I always want to make sure that we are on the same page when it comes to our finances. And that's what makes Monarch Money so great. Managing with money with your partner is smoother than ever. You can track your shared and personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without all of the extra stress. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year.
This episode is also brought to you by our friends at Game Time. Andy, it's great to see Game Time back on the ad roll here. Imagine, folks, watching your favorite team live, feeling the energy of the crowd, and witnessing unforgettable moments. There's nothing like experiencing a big game in person. Getting tickets, man, it shouldn't be stressful, and that's where Game Time comes in, making it easier than ever to grab last-minute tickets at unbeatable prices. I like Game Time Picks a lot, Andy. It provides curation to make it easier to find better value for tickets to sports, to concerts, to comedy, theater, and so much more. I just recently checked Game Time app, and man, there are amazing deals on some of these huge matchups all weekend long in this thing. So make sure you're finding your favorite team and their tickets. They've got a lowest price guarantee where Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference if you find a better deal. With seat views before you buy, no surprise fees, and a lowest price guarantee, man, you can book with total confidence. So go ahead, take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Again, that's LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed. We come to the portion of the bracket where you've taken your supper break in between the second and third windows of the day. I kind of hate that it happens, but I love it. We get a nice little reset and ready to go.
I'm still so West Coast time just throws me off on all this. I'm like, why would you be? And I'm like, oh, that's right. For most people, I guess that. I'm like, for me, no, this is the middle of the afternoon is great.
That's right. Yeah, this game is tipping off at like 5 o'clock for you on the West Coast. Forgive me for alienating all you West Coasters and Hawaiians out there, right? I apologize profoundly. And anyone else out in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, Guam, I don't know who else is out there, but apologies to you along with the lawyer family. All right, we start window 3 with number 15 Wofford against number 2 Tennessee, 6:50 Eastern on TNT, 4:50 Pacific. Andy, this is in the Midwest region, in Lexington, in Rupp Arena. FanDuel has it Vols by 18.5. Andy, do we need to spend much time on talking about if the Terriers have any prayer here?
Yeah, I think Tennessee is going to cover this one. I'm interested in Tennessee's overall arc here, and if Chaz Lanier can do enough to kind of carry this team and Rick Barnes, but I don't think they're going to have a major issue in this first game. I think they win this one. I think they cover.
Man, I just remembered as you were talking about that Dalton Connect versus Zach Edey. Was that the Elite Eight?
Yes, I think so. Yeah. What a battle.
That game was phenomenal. Gosh, I just remembered it. Oh, bring that back. I got Tennessee, but not covering. Andy, Arkansas, Kansas, 10-7 game, 7:10 Eastern on CBS, West bracket. Providence is the location. Love that. FanDuel has it. Jayhawks, Rock Chalk, -4.5. Andy, what's going to happen here? I can't make heads or tails of it.
Yeah, this game could, there's very few results that you could tell me if you were from the future and you said this happened. There's very few that would surprise me. If you told me Kansas got beat by 25 points, I'd be a little surprised. But honestly, I can see that happening. I could see this Kansas team crumbling. I could see Boogie Flan coming back and Arkansas just absolutely cruising in this one. I could see it go in the other direction where Arkansas just crumbles and Kansas finds a way with Bill. There's just so many different paths for this game. I do have Arkansas winning this game. As I mentioned, I have a lot of double-digit seeds winning games here. So for me, I definitely have Arkansas obviously covering the spread and winning this game. I think that Kansas is just so in disarray throughout the season. And while, you'd like to see them come together and find a way to make a run here. I don't know if they have it in them. And Arkansas obviously has had their ups and downs, but I'm more confident, believe it or not, in John Calipari and the Hogs to win this one than I am in Kansas and Bill Self's team.
I'm going to go with Kansas, Andy. I think this is our first point of disagreement. The thing for me is that Boogie Fland will play. It's been Pete Thamel reported he's coming off the bench in this game. No Adu Thiero still for Arkansas, excuse me. And I think that is what for me is going to flip this game. So I'm going to take Kansas to win and cover, but with a buzzer free throw to make it by 5. How about that for you? All right, number 13, Yale, the fighting Pulakitises, Andy, against number 4 seed Texas A&M, 7:25 p.m. on TBS South Region in Denver. FanDuel has it A&M minus 7.5.
Are you just tired of how many Bulldogs there are? Because we have the Yale Bulldogs, we had Gonzaga versus Georgia Bulldogs. We're about to talk about the Drake Bulldogs, so we just got to call them the Pulakitises. I'm on board with that. Actually, that's fine with me. Also, I have Yale winning this game. This is my biggest upset in terms of seed difference that I picked in this tournament. Most people's biggest is probably a 13 or 14, so that makes sense. Yale did this last year. It was against Auburn, but it was a 13-seeded Yale team against a 4-seeded SEC team. I think that A&M is an inconsistent team, and while they're great, even when they're missing a lot of shots because of their rebounding, I think if Wade Taylor has an off night or Zurich Phelps doesn't contribute, this Yale team has done it before. They're confident, they're cool, collected, they're coming in. I think Yale's going to win this basketball game, and it's so obviously I think they're going to also cover the spread here. But I'm really excited to see if Yale can do this 2 years in a row.
Andy, my problem with this Yale team is that Danny Wolf is playing in the game after this on the same floor, the same court, and not in this game. So I got to go with Wade Taylor the 4th. Heck, I think Wade Taylor the 3rd could probably win this game as far as I'm concerned. Andy, let's move on. Number 11 seed Drake against 6 seed Missouri, 7:35, the last tip of the 3rd window, my second favorite window of the day, by the way. 7:35 Eastern on True TV, West Bracket in Wichita. FanDuel has it Mizzou by 6.5.
Yeah, I guess I kind of gave away when I said that I have 3 double-digit seeds and I did not pick Wofford, that means that I'm picking all of the other upsets here. So yeah, give me Drake in this game. And it, another loss for an SEC team here. I did pick Arkansas at least, so there we go. 2-2. All 4 of these games feature SEC teams. That is a testament to what that conference did this year. Regardless, Missouri kind of stumbled towards the end of the year. Drake, red-hot team, 30-win team. I love Bennett Sturts. I love Coach Ben McCollum. I love what this team was able to do this year. So few teams win 30 games in a year, and while I have a ton of respect for Dennis Gates turning it around after an 0-18 season in the SEC last year, I don't think they have the juice right now, whereas I'm all in on this Drake team making a run to the Sweet 16, honestly, I think is very possible for the Bulldogs. And so I think I'm taking them here over the Tigers and to obviously cover as well.
Let's go to the last window after I tell you that I'm also taking Drake, but not to cover. Or no, of course, by winning, because they're the underdog, they cover. So cover. Like my brain is mush at this point. It's Thursday of March Madness week. I'm done. Andy, last window. This is for the real ones who stay up and enjoy every single ounce of this. Number 10 seed Utah, number 7 UCLA, 9:25
State.
Did I say?
Utah didn't make it.
Oh boy. Y'all, here's the deal. Utah is in the Crown, which is the fake new made up.
Without a coach, too.
Yeah.
They're a new coach. Anyway.
They are in that one, and that's not who I'm talking about. Utah State, number 10 seed against number 7 seed UCLA, the Fighting Bruins, 9:25 Eastern on TNT, Midwest bracket. This is the last game of the day in Rupp Arena. FanDuel has it UCLA minus 5.5.
I had not put together, but I very much love the fact that Mick Cronin, who spent most of this season complaining to reporters about how far he had to travel, is playing a regionally fairly local team in Lexington. That's entertaining to me. I have Utah State winning this basketball game, so another upset here. I think it's going to be very, very close. Obviously, I'm picking them to cover the spread since I'm picking them to win. But even if UCLA wins, I don't think that – I think it's going to be like a 3-point game. So I think that I'm definitely taking Utah State to cover comfortably. I would not be surprised if they win. Mick Cronin's teams, their offense can disappear at times. And I've really enjoyed what Jared Calhoun has done in his one and maybe only season at Utah State, as he is rumored to be in conversation for that West Virginia job. Certainly winning a game here would probably help cement that for him. And I think that's what's going to happen.
Andy, great stuff there. Man, you know what? I got to pull up my bracket because I actually forget who I took in this game. And I can't even find it there we go. I've got Utah State as well, Andy. So we're aligned there. And I love to see it. Okay, moving on down. Number 15 seed Omaha, number 2 St. John's, 9:45 CBS West bracket in Providence. Johnny's minus 18.5.
Yeah, St. John's going to win this game. Shout out to Omaha, though. First NCAA tournament appearance. They had the trash cans all season long. It was a really fun year for Omaha. I loved it. I loved watching it. But you're playing Rick Pitino in Providence. I don't
what
see
are we
it.
doing? Yeah,
I'm taking St. John's, and honestly, that spread is close. But I think the Johnnies cover. I think they're going to win by 20-ish. In this game. It feels like it's going to be a game where it's like a 12 to 15 point lead for most of the game. And you're like, okay, St. John's is winning, but it's like, it's not super dominant. And then they're going to go on a little run or free throws, and then they're going to end up winning by like 24. That's my prediction. Very specific for this game. Oddly, I don't know why, but we'll see how close we get.
I'm going to say this is like the crazy one where Omaha gets in under the number and covers, but obviously St. John's wins. Number 12, UC San Diego, a trendy 12-5 pick over number 5, Michigan. How funny would that be if Yale won, but Danny Wolf did not? That would be hilarious. 10 p.m. Eastern, TBS South Region. This is in Denver, Michigan minus 2.5 at FanDuel.
Wow, that's a small spread for Michigan in this game. There was a lot of 12-5s this year. I feel like I didn't really like a lot of the matchups for the 12 seeds. I don't like McNeese's matchup with Clemson. Obviously, it's got a lot of extra weirdness now with the Will Wade situation. And I hate this matchup for UC San Diego, a team that was fantastic all season long. I fully think they're capable of winning this game. I don't want to say like, oh, they got a bad matchup, they're going to lose for sure. But I am taking Michigan. I just don't think UC San Diego is going to be capable of handling the size of Vlad Golden and Danny Wolf. Few teams are. I think that's what makes Michigan so dangerous, even though their guard play has been questionable. And it's why I'm not super confident in Michigan making a deep run, but I feel pretty confident about them winning this game.
Andy, I double checked just to make sure I didn't type this line in wrong, and it's absolutely correct. Give me the Wolverines by 7. 14, UNC Dub against number 3, Texas Tech, 10:10 Eastern on True TV. Last tip of the night, West Region in Wichita. FanDuel has it, Texas Tech minus 15.5. While you're talking, I'm going to check for any updates on Chance McMillan and Darion Williams.
Yeah, if everybody's playing, Texas Tech wins this game handily. I think they cover that spread as well. With respect to Wilmington, a program that I've enjoyed kind of following lately, but JT Toppin's such an absolute stud that I think that Texas Tech wins this game regardless, even if they are without Williams or McMillan. But if all of them are there, they're going to win this thing by 20 plus.
Darion Williams said, "I'm feeling good. I'll be out there tomorrow. We'll see what happens with that." Chance McMillan kind of sounds like it's kind of GTD as well on that. So great, very non-specific updates on either of those guys. So
kind of surprised FanDuel has a firm line on it then with 2 starters as game time decisions. Usually FanDuel pulls the lines. We'll see if that changes between now and when the show comes out.
Yeah, my thought all along and had some conversations with some Lubbock insiders, a couple of different ones, is that both of these guys are ultimately going to play, but who knows on game day, right? Give me Texas Tech to cover, win by 18 in this thing.
Well, we got to talk about the Wednesday night play-in games. Texas was in control for like 35 minutes, Mr. Schade, and yet they fall to Xavier. They pull off the comeback. Sean Miller's going dancing in the field of 64. Meanwhile, the Horns are down for Texas. We'll see what that means for Rodney Terry's team going forward. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to give you our Final Four and national championship projections as we round out the final show before the official 64-team March Madness begins. We're going to get to that in just a second. But first, folks, daylight savings time, as it always does, it snuck up on us again. And if you're feeling that lost hour of sleep, 5-Hour Energy has your back. The extra sunshine means more time for fun, but sometimes you need a little boost to power through the day. And whether you're staying up late watching the NCAA tournament, like Isaac and I will absolutely be, maybe you're squeezing in a round of golf after work, maybe you're just trying to keep up with your busy day, 5-Hour Energy gives you that quick, refreshing pick-me-up whenever you need it. I've been staying up super late covering the NCAA tournament. Isaac, we've slept like, I don't know about you, but I don't think I've gotten more than 5 hours of sleep, and we're only in the last week, and we're just getting this thing started. So I'm going to tell you what, 5-Hour
So
Energy.
hurry up so I can go to bed, Andy. Come on.
Right? We'll get through it. 5-Hour Energy, that is the jolt that I need to help keep me going into the next day, whether I'm at a game, whether I'm traveling. 5-Hour Energy is easy to grab and keeps me feeling refreshed. So folks, head to 5hourenergy.com to find over 15 flavors to choose from, including watermelon, blue raspberry, and peach mango. You can even build your own 12-pack or 24-pack delivered right to your door. If you need one now, grab a 5-Hour Energy shot at a local grocery or convenience store. They're everywhere. Stock up today and stay energized.
The NCAA tournament is here, and so is the bracket breakdown.
Locked On Podcast Network and Amazon Fire TV channels are teaming up to deliver NCAA tournament coverage like never before. Watch studio shows featuring former players and Locked On's local experts as they guide you through every upset, buzzer beater, and bracket matchup.
Stream it all for free on Amazon Fire TV channel. Search Bracket Breakdown to see it all for free.
It's your team every day.
Well, Isaac, we got a couple play-in games to talk about here before we give our projections for our Final Four and our national championship picks. We got to start with this game. Xavier storms back and beats Texas. Final score 86-80. Texas was up by as many as 13. They had an 8-point lead at halftime. They were kind of up between like 8 and 12 points pretty much the entire game. And then Xavier went on a run late in the second half. They took a lead with just under 5 minutes to go in the second half. It was 75-74. That was Xavier's first lead since the game was 10-9. Literally that long before Xavier took the lead. And from that point forward, they just cruised. Right after they took the lead, they got a 3-point play, built up a 4-point lead, and just smoked them from there. 48% from three, 12 of 25 for Sean Miller's team. Trey Johnson in his final college basketball game, 23 points, 4 of 7 from three. Very sad we didn't get to see more from Trey Johnson in the NCAA tournament. I think he would have been a tremendously fun player to watch against some of the big boys, but unfortunately, Rodney Terry's team unable to get it done. And Isaac, this is probably it for Rodney Terry. There's already, as we're recording this right now, shortly after the game ends, there's already reports like, hey, they're probably going to move on from him. There's also some rumblings that Sean Miller, after beating Texas and continuing to keep Xavier in the tournament, he may be headed to Texas after this. It's just a rumor at this point, obviously, but that would be a unique situation to say the very least, but obviously a good hire by Texas and a fun move for Sean Miller, although it would be him leaving his alma mater for a second time. Not sure they'd invite him back for round number 3 at Xavier.
Well, Andy probably wouldn't need to because he wouldn't be sent packing anymore because all the stuff he got in trouble for is legal now. So honestly, if you didn't have another game to play, he could have just packed up and hopped on the plane back to Austin with him, I guess, right? Like, what are we talking about here?
Yep.
And it's funny because at first blush, you think, oh, that's crazy. That means he's going to be back in the Big 12 playing Arizona, who's in the Big 12 now. Nope. Except for Texas is in the SEC. We're going to get this back in our heads eventually. It's so tough to keep. What a year. And it's all going to change again soon anyway. So whatever. Yeah. I don't know. Look, Texas, man, you just can't lose like this. It was just a mess down the stretch. Yeah. Trey Johnson commits a silly foul and a run. I mean, just mistake after mistake. They should not have lost this basketball game. Poor Caden Shedrick took a knee to the mommy daddy parts. The Xavier bench is right in front of him, not helping, but other than making like, oh, kind of, it's a whole thing, man. I hate it for him, but it is what it is. Xavier's been hot. And how about the two teams that were so controversial with their quad one win coming into this thing, win the 2 play-in games, Andy? This is what happens always, inevitably. So congrats to Xavier for storming back. Sean Miller's going to try to win as many as he can so that there's some space before he has to go face everybody in Texas whom he just beat. Congrats, though, to Mount St. Mary's for winning the first play-in game of the night, 83-72. They'll move on. And, Andy, their wonderful, glorious reward is that they now get to move in and play Duke.
Yes, very fun reward for them. I got to shout out, Mount St. Mary's has a player on their team named Xavier Lipscomb. I don't know if we've ever had a player in the NCAA tournament whose first and last name are both teams that are in the NCAA tournament. I don't think I'm guessing not. I do know, interestingly, and he was at Texas Tech last year, so maybe Lamar Washington But Washington hasn't made the NCAA tournament in a while, so I don't think that he would have counted it. But maybe if he sticks around, he's at Pacific now. If he hits the transfer portal, goes somewhere that makes the tournament, Washington makes it next year, Lamar makes it, maybe we'll have another one. But could not mention Xavier Lipscomb because that is hilarious, especially on the day that Xavier punched their ticket into the 64-team field. Just a fun thing. But yeah, as you said, congrats to Mount St. Mary's.
Absolutely.
Isaac,
And you know what's funny about it is I actually looked up his full name just to check if his middle name was also a school in the tournament. And It's the wildest thing. His full name, are you ready for this?
Hit me.
Xavier SIU Edwardsville Lipscomb is his full name. I crap you not, dude.
I wasn't sure where you were going to go with that, but that was that. Yes, perfect.
I mean, I am I can't believe his parents chose that.
Xavier Pewee Lipscomb. There it is.
Yeah, I mean, good grief. Like, and that's not even a school that exists anymore. It's so sad. Anymore.
He has to change his name legally now.
Andy, we got to get out of here with some Final Four and national championship.
Started yet, and this is what we're doing on the show. I love it.
I absolutely love it. By the way, at this San Francisco game, Jonathan Mogbo in attendance. We got Buddy Hield sitting courtside. Man, this is fun for an NIT battle. Andy, give us your Final Four picks and your national champion.
Yeah, I went boring. We say this so many times on the show. We said it on other platforms. You want to go with your upsets early and your chalk late. And so I did not go as chalky as you can possibly go. I went with 3 1 seeds and a 2 seed. With apologies to Auburn, I do have Michigan State in the Final Four as the 2 seed. And then I have Florida, Duke, and Houston being the other ones. I have a national championship matchup between Kelvin Sampson and the Cougs against Todd Golden and the Gators. And give me the Cougars. If they stay healthy, I think this Houston team, kind of the least talked about of the 1 seeds, it feels like nationally. Give me the Cougs to potentially take home the trophy here and end what has been a frustrating couple of years in the tournament with injuries for Houston.
Yeah, a team that I really thought was going to make the Final Four last year had Jamal Shead not got that injury, they probably beat Duke and then NC State and move on there. Andy, my Final Four, I got 2 1 seeds, Auburn and Duke. Previously, like Sunday night, I was on Florida. I've since changed to Texas Tech. I feel like Darion Williams, Chance McMillan have had this time to rest. I think they're going to be in good shape. And I think JT Toppin is just going to go absolutely bonkers. And I know Florida is so deep and balanced, but I don't know, man. I just think there's something here with Grant McCaslin's team. And then I'm sticking with my Illinois big homie just got hung on the rim. I'm so sorry. Oh my gosh. And San Francisco, Utah Valley, about 10 minutes, 40 seconds left. Go find it in the game log. Andy, Illinois is my pick coming out of the Midwest. I have lost all control of myself here. But then the 1 seeds prevail. We get a rematch of Auburn and Duke in the national championship game. Duke won this game in Cameron in the ACC SEC championship, but Auburn takes home this one.
You're just pandering to our good friend, Zach Blackerby, the host of Locked On Auburn. He's going to be thrilled to hear that. It's hard to go against Auburn, even coming in the tournament without a lot of momentum. Auburn-Duke championship would be an absolute blast. And also funny that you and I each have 1 versus 1 in the championship game, but we have the other teams. Just we'll see. We'll see who gets it right. It's probably going to be like a 5 seed and a 4 seed. But you know what? That's what makes this tournament so dang fun, right?
I'm sorry that you don't believe in yours, but mine is absolutely
I'm absolutely right. I'm confident.
Andy, I sung about the perfect bracket off the top of this show. How dare you besmirch the fact that my bracket will not be perfect? I shame you, sir.
When UConn beats Auburn, and I think they're playing, or no, I'm not sure who the 8 seed is over there. When Creighton beats Auburn,
Creighton and Louisville, yeah.
When Creighton beats Auburn, we'll get freezing cold takes out here, and we'll clip this out for you.
And that's what's bound to happen. Welcome to the NCAA tournament. Enjoy the ride, everybody. Thanks for being with us. We will be with you literally every day throughout the NCAA tournament, so don't miss a second, along with all our bracket breakdown stuff for Amazon. It won't just be the in-studio shows. The days in between, we'll be bringing you digital content as well, very similar to this format. If you've not subscribed to the show on YouTube, do it right now. If you've not joined the Locked On College Basketball Discord, this is the time. Do it, don't not do it. And if you haven't joined the bracket challenge yet, you've hopefully got a little bit of time before things get going. Do it right now. We'd love to beat you in that. Actually, you'll kill me because I'm not ever good at making picks. Despite all the bravado, espouse here on the show. As always, apologies to the lawyer family. Let's go Wild Popes. Shouts to Mick Bruins. And until tonight, ahead of tomorrow's show. Peace.